Good morning. You know what today is? It's Monday Morning Chats with Sack, and Sack is me. Hey, beloveds. Beloved is like one of my favorite terms. But I hope that you guys had a good week. I had a good week. I had a good weekend. It was very productive. Now, last Monday, I did not host Monday Morning Chats because my allergies, oh my God, they were terrible. Yes, I do take medication for my allergies. It's over the counter. However, that's the medicine that somewhat seems to work. I've been prescribed medicine over the years and it just doesn't do it for me. So I have an aunt saying, hey, let me help you out. She's like into herbs and making like all natural remedies. So she's trying to figure out what can she find to help me reverse my allergies. I guess that's the thing where you can reverse your allergies. But I struggled with allergies my entire life. But as I got older, they just became more severe. So when it comes to like where I want to live at permanently, I really pay attention to like the pollen count and all those things because I want to go somewhere where I can breathe, right? I want to breathe. And I remember living in Florida where it was just terrible for me, just very terrible. But I survived. And so for today, I want to talk about what we discussed in Bible study last week, and also some things that I discussed with one of my good friends yesterday. And I just thought it would be pretty cool to combine all of that in today's brief chat. I don't have like a real catchy title, but if I would have to title this, it will be one, I want to be healed, and the second part is I see you. And so when I look on social media, if I hear people talk, and I always hear people say, hey, I want to be healed. I'm saying I want to, or I want to. Sorry if it's not grammatically correct for you, but I'm going to say I want to be healed. And I think healing is subjective. I think that everyone has their own idea of what healing looks like. Healing for me will look different for healing for you or your friends or whoever that you're around. I think it looks different. And everyone has their own process and everybody heals differently. You know, healing is not something that you just wake up and say, hey, I'm over it. It's a process, you know, and I think healing can be messy because sometimes you are fighting the old you to become a better you. That's what I think. But I think it is a process, and I do think that it takes some time. And sometimes with the healing process, we can be judgmental to ourselves. Like, wow, why did I let this happen? Why did I let this thing occur? Why did I let this person do this to me? Like this, it's all these things that you can think about. And so what I did was in this Bible study, I pretty much, usually what I do for Bible study, I'll find quotes because I love quotes. I like poetry. I write poetry and I read poetry. And so I like quotes. I like poems. And so during my Bible study, I will find quotes that relates to the topic that we are discussing. And of course, I relate it to scripture. Like that's always the thing. And so when we first started the Bible study, I said use 5 minutes to write words that describe who you are as a person. So if you had to describe yourself, what words would you say, right? I don't care about things that happened to you yesterday. I don't care about the things that happened to you last week. I don't care about the things you have done 10 years ago. Maybe you're still ashamed of it. I don't know. But whatever you have done, like is past tense, I don't care about that. So just write these terms that describe who you are. And so you'd be surprised if you ask somebody to write words that describe them. You're just curious to know what do they think about themselves. So I could tell you some of the words that I said that describes me. I said that I'm amazing. I said that I'm beautiful. I said that I'm imperfect because Lord knows I am not perfect at all. I am flawed. I am accepting. I accept people for who they are. I am non-judgmental. I'm a great listener. I am loyal. I am honest. I'm God-fearing. I'm trustworthy. I have a good heart. My intentions are pure. And I just had all these different words that describe who I am. And then after we did that little icebreaker, we went into what is healing. And like I said, healing looks different for everybody, right? Healing looks different. And so what I did was I created like 4 steps I think that you can use to do the healing process. Now, some people may need more steps. I'm not like an expert. I'm just doing things that I thought would work based on what I've read and based on scripture. So it could be 10 steps for some, it could be 5 steps for another person. I don't know. I just did my own steps. And so the first step that I said was, confess about the thing that still bothers you. Maybe it's the person that still bothers you. Maybe it's a thing, whatever it is, confess it. Say it out loud. And I say that because, when you hold things in, like if it's something that really bothers you, whatever it is, like you hold it in and you just keep it in. And sometimes we get used to our own hurt, I believe. We get used to our own hurt where we don't talk about it and we suppress it. And we just bury it so deep down, like it's like so down below the surface, to the extent that you forget that it even exists. But you realize it's still there when there's maybe a picture that you see, or someone said something, or you see something, you think about something, and maybe it just triggers, and then it comes above surface, and then you just explode, right? And so we talked about, hey, can you talk about the things that still bother you? Like, don't hold it in. Like, can you really talk about it? And I shared something in my small group that I wasn't afraid of. Like, I was afraid for years. And I just said, like, hey, like, this is something that bothered me. And I used myself during this whole healing process that I had, that I created, how I was able to work through it. And so I think the first step is, like, can you really confess what's bothering you? Or are you going to keep it in? And I just feel so sad because we just live in this world where it's this idea of, hey, nothing can bother you. And I feel sorry because, and I tell this to my male friends, that I feel you guys have it bad to a certain extent because maybe you're hurting on the inside, but society is telling you that you have to be so strong and you can't feel anything. And so it's like you have these things that bother you, but who can you really talk to? Who creates a safe space for you, right? I'm talking to the guys. Like, who creates a safe space for you? Because maybe you have so much that you want to just let out, and it's like you have this monkey on your back, and you want to let it out and have somebody just listen to you. But society is telling you, hey, you're a man and you have to be strong. Hey, you can't show any feelings. Hey, you can't be sad. You can't be depressed. You can't be angry. And don't even cry. Like, don't even do that because you're not allowed to do that. And so maybe you're just keeping all these things in and you're like, I just want somebody to listen to me, right? And so I think the first step, if you get there, is to, I hope that you find a safe space that you're able to just let it out. Whether it's talking to a therapist, I pray that you do that. Or maybe it's a journal. I love to journal write. That's something that I have done since I was a kid. That was my escape. Like, if I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody, that was my way to write. I had to let it out. And thank God for therapy, because now I'm able to let it out and have somebody respond to me, right? So I think the first step is to confess, like, let it out. Don't let it sit there, right? And I told my group, I said, I just feel like there's a lot of mental health patients walking around that haven't been diagnosed. That's just my opinion, because some people, they appear to be okay, but deep down, it's just so many things that need to be worked on. And, like, we're all a work in progress. Lord knows I am too. But it's nothing like being free, right? When you just let it out, like, it feels free, it feels liberating, and it's like you don't have that extra bag, right, on your back. The second thing is, whatever you have experienced, whatever you have confessed, whether it's like extremely bad, somewhat bad, or just the surface, just know that God still loves you. Like, he's not petty like we are, right? And so sometimes we can look at other people's problems like, oh, wow, that would have never been me. Oh, I would have never did that. But God is not petty like us. God is like, I still love you in spite of, and I know when you're going to make mistakes. Like, you're probably beating yourself up with something that you did last week, but I already knew you were going to do it. I already knew that. I knew the things that you did 10 years ago. I knew right before it happened that it was going to happen, but I'm still here. And I'll always be with you. That's what scripture is like. I'll always be with you. When your hairs turn gray, I'll always be right by your side. And the third step, which is so big, is to forgive, right? To forgive yourself, forgive the situation, and don't beat yourself up about it, right? That's something I struggle with. Like, I will forgive, and then I'll say, wait a minute. Hey, this still hurts. Or I'll like say, hey, like, why did I let this happen? Like, why did I do this? And I realize, like, forgiveness is a process. And one of my good friends, that's my co-facilitator, this step was the hardest step for her. And she said, I'm learning to forgive. That's something that I really struggle with. I have a list of people that it's hard for me to forgive them. Like, I can't give them forgiveness right now. And I said, well, think about it like this. You're struggling with forgiveness, and hey, you're human and you are entitled to that. But what if this person is just living their best life, right? They're just living their best life. Maybe they don't care about the things that they have done to you that cause you pain. Maybe they don't care, right? Maybe they don't care. But you still are worried about the things they did yesterday. Maybe they did 2 weeks ago. Maybe they did, 10 years ago. I don't know the time frame, but they're living their best life. And I say, I think what God wants us to do is that to forgive not the person, but for yourself, so you can be free and so you can move forward. Because I said, it's those times when we are idle and we're just sitting there and there's nothing to do. Our mind, it just starts racing, and we just start thinking about all these things like, oh man, I should have did this. I know sometimes for me, like, I can like sit still and maybe look at one of my favorite shows on Netflix, and then like maybe I turn, the TV off, or I'm thinking about watching something else, and there's like this complete silence. I don't hear anything, no TV's on. And sometimes it allowed me to just think about things. I'll just start thinking about all these things, and I'm like, oh wow, I should have did this, or hey, I need to do this, or hey, I can't believe I lost this, or I'll just start thinking about all these things. And that is the devil wanting you to just go back and just like make yourself feel bad. And the question that she asked me, I said, well, I'm going to check up on you to make sure that how you're working with this unforgiveness list, because she has a list of people that she didn't forgive. So I said, we're going to work on that. And I said, if our theme for our small group is wellness and mental health and trying to be whole, we have to work on that. And the one thing that I said in this Bible study, I said, most times people think this whole thing of wholeness, or what this means is that being whole means that you are perfect, like everything is all together. And I disagree. I think that wholeness is accepting who you are. Like accepting who you are, who you see when you look in the mirror, and saying, you know what? I embrace my flaws. I embrace the good things about me. I embrace the bad things about me, but I still love me. And I think those that don't accept who they are and they're still struggling with who they are, there may be some brokenness. I don't know. But hey, again, I am not a therapist. I'm just telling you what I think. You may think differently, but I just think wholeness just means that you embrace who you are. You accept who you are. And you look forward. And I think that if we stay in the past and we keep looking back and keep turning, we can't keep our eyes on the things that are in front of us. And there may be some great things that are ahead of us. But how can we really enjoy it? How can we walk towards it if we're still looking backwards? And so I told my co-facilitator, I said, hey, can we make the decision, one, because healing is a choice, right? God has already given that to us. But are we going to make the choice and say, hey, we want to be healed? And we both said, yes, hey, I want to be healed. And I said, with the forgiveness, hey, that may take time. But the question that she asked me was, well, what happens when this person changed? Because she started talking about different situations and why she decided not to forgive this person. And she's still working on it. And she said, well, what if this person changed? Does that mean I'm able to let them back in my life again? Does that mean I forgive them quicker? Like, what does that mean? And I told her, I said that I think that's your call. I think that's a personal call. I said, one, I think forgiveness is for yourself, not the person, so you can be free. But I said, two, people do change, right? People can change for the better. Maybe, the person I was 10 years ago, I'm I'm not that Sakina. So if you met me in college at Bloomsburg University, I still bust jokes, I still laugh, but I've grown. I experienced life. And so because of my experiences, it shaped me who I am as a person now. And I just strive to be better. But I was a different person. Not a bad person, but just a different person. And so if you are trying to struggle with, hey, do I let this person back in my life? This person has changed. I said, it's all up to you, right? You can make that decision and say, hey, I want to give this person another shot. And that's all up to you. But if something happens and it doesn't go out how it's turned, you already know how this person is. But people do change, right? People do change. People do wake up, smell the roses, and say, damn, okay, I think I need to grow up for once. I need to grow up. This is the time that I need to grow up. And so if you are like on the fence of letting somebody back in and you notice the change in them, that's up to you. I think sometimes when people hear about, you having a disagreement with somebody, or maybe the friendship ended and you guys go your separate ways, when you tell that to people, all they think about is the bad things. Like, hey, this person did this to you, they did that to you, they did that, and they just go down this list. And they'll easily tell you, hey, if I was you, don't talk to this person ever again. Like, don't even talk to them. But they may not know the side conversation that you may have with this person that you are in disagreement with. They may not know. And so I think it's just up to you. Like, if you realize a person has changed and they have changed for the better, maybe when you met them years ago, maybe they wasn't as great, right? But if you see that they have made changes, I think that's up to you. I think that's up to you to make that decision and say, hey, you know what? I can give this person another chance. But it's up to you. It's your call. So I told my co-facilitator, I said, that's up to you if you want to make that change. And you want to let that person back in. And I think the first step is grace. Tell people your story, right? Because that's how God get the glory. So if you have struggled with something, whatever it is, and you are able to confess it, understand that God still loves you. He's still here. Accept that you want to be healed. 3, forgive the situation, forgive the person, forgive the thing, whatever it is. And then grace. Tell people your story so that way you're able to say, like, God worked through me to get through this. So if you're going through something, like, you can tell people that God exists. Even if they're not a Christian, you'd be surprised. Like, I never knew that, almost 5.5 years ago, I had my blood clot, and I shared that story. I had a pulmonary embolism. And when I first shared the story, it was touching to many people, but I did not know, or did I even have a clue, that so many people have experienced pulmonary embolisms, or maybe there was a friend and a friend of a friend, or maybe a family member that experienced it. And if you have ever experienced a pulmonary embolism, it is life-changing because it can take your life if it's not treated. And so when I shared that, during that time that I had it, I was unemployed. I just lost hope. I just wasn't sure what would happen, like what was next. All I knew that at that time when I was in the hospital, I was laying in that hospital bed. And this was the longest I've ever been in a hospital because I've always been like a healthy kid and even a healthy adult. And I didn't care about a job. I didn't care about my bills. I just wanted to live. And I think that sometimes when you go through things in life, you figure out what matters the most to you. And so after that experience, I realized that I don't need a lot of things, right? I don't need a lot of things. I just needed things that matter. And so when I was able to share that story, because I was embarrassed, like there were so many things that led up to the pulmonary embolism that I started to eventually share. So it was like this one story, like, hey, I had a pulmonary embolism. But before that, I had this happen. So it was like all these things just like happening one after the other. And I wasn't afraid to eventually share. And that allowed people to send me messages like, hey, I was going through that. And I just want to say thank you because you encouraged me. Or I've met some people virtually where they still experience pulmonary embolisms and they still have to take their blood thinners. Like, I had to take blood thinners for 6 months. And during that time, when you take blood thinners, it makes it bruises your skin easily. So I am more pale in the winter. And so if someone just like grabbed my hand, not hard or anything, but just grabbed my hand, my arm would turn red and blue. And that was because of the blood thinners I had to take. But I wasn't afraid to share it. But I was like, you know what? If it wasn't for God, like I wouldn't be here. And people that don't know God, maybe they were able to see it through me, through my experience. So the steps were confess whatever it is that's bothering you. Just know that God still loves you. That's 2. And he's going to always be with you. 3, to forgive. Forgive the situation. Forgive yourself. Forgive the thing. Whatever it is. Forgive. And sometimes people are stuck on that 3rd step because it's hard, right? Like sometimes when people hear the word forgiveness, they assume that, hey, if I forgive, I'm saying that I accepted the hurt that I encountered. I accepted the thing that bothered me. And it's not true. You're accepting the fact that you experienced something and you want to be free, right? I was reading an article about, when someone encounters like heartbreak. Like, let's say like you have a spouse that dies and it's just like something in you it just hurts. Maybe you were trying to accomplish something and you just can't get it. Like, it's just heartbreaking, right? And one of those things about a heartbreak, I was heartbroken when I felt the bar. Like that, I think honestly, that was like one of the most devastating things. And the next, of course, the pulmonary embolism. But that was one of the devastating things, because just imagine that you work so hard to get to a particular place and you just feel like nothing is happening for you. Like everything is just all crashing down. But the thing about, heartbreak, whatever caused the heartbreak, we always focus on the things that really hurt us. And because of that, we become a prisoner of our hurt. We become a prisoner of our past. And when this article that I was reading was like, you know what, you're going to experience some type of heartbreak throughout your life. Whatever it is, career, relationship, whatever. Like, you're going to experience those type of things. But instead of being so caught up in the hurt and being a prisoner of your hurt, learn from your pain, right? What did you get out of this? I always share this with friends and colleagues about, not being successful in the bar. And I think for me, it was heartbreaking, right? Because I struggled to get into law school. Like, I always had great grades, but I hated standardized tests. And the LSAT was a test that I did not do well on. And I just thought, because of the numbers and what I scored, I thought it defined who I was as a person. But when I look back and I look at the terms that describe me, it doesn't say that I'm inadequate. I didn't say that I was naive. I said that I was smart. I said I was amazing. And so that was just a test. And when I look back at my life now, and I look back during the times I was unsuccessful in the bar, getting rejection letters from different law schools, instead of me being so caught up in the things that didn't go right, I just try to focus on, okay, this hurts me, but what did I learn from being hurt by this? And I've learned that you persevere through your pain. You still move forward. Now, it's okay to feel, right? Because sometimes people think like, hey, if I'm trying to get over something, then I just need to just act like it doesn't exist. No, like, that's okay to feel, and that's okay to say, hey, like, this bothers me, and hey, I just want to cry about it. Like, it'll be sometimes where I was in my apartment and I would just cry because it's like I'm heartbroken that I can't pass something that I need to do what I always wanted to do. And so I challenge you, like, throughout this healing process, instead of being stuck in the thing that hurts you, learn from it. Like, what can you learn from this hurt? What can you learn from this pain? And can you grow from it? Because I think that our experiences, it can make us better, or it can make us bitter, but the choice is yours. And I think sometimes when people choose bitterness and don't make the decision to be better, it's like having the attention. Like, hey, I'm hurt, look at me, let me just keep sharing this story about how I was hurt 10 years ago or how I was hurt yesterday. I think sometimes people use that as an attention seeker instead of saying, hey, you know what, this hurts me, but I want to work on this. Like, I never forget when I first went to therapy, I told her, my therapist, I said, listen, this is what, I said, I'm not naive, right? I'm not afraid to say this bothers me. And I told her, I said, I'm willing to take the necessary steps to get over the things that I struggle with. Like, I'm not afraid to tell you that. And in the beginning, it was hard to open up. Like, damn, I don't even know this lady. Like, I don't even know her. And she wanted me to tell her my whole business. Like, this lady know my whole life. But I was like, in order for me to heal, I had to say it. Like, I had to really let it out and say the things that bother me. I don't care if it happened yesterday. I don't care if it happened 10 years ago. But I was like, I had to say it and I had to address it. And so the steps that I have, one, speaking about it, confessing it, knowing that God still loves me for who I am, forgiveness and giving grace, like, those are the steps I went through in therapy. Like, I created those steps for myself, and I just read scriptures that related to, I think, the necessary steps for forgiveness. But I keep going through those because it's a process, right? Healing is a process. You're not going to just wake up and say, hey, I am great, I am good. You may be great today, and tomorrow's like, damn, I still struggle. Like, I still struggle with the fact that one of my favorite aunts, she is not here today. And grieving is a process. It's not something like, hey, you're just going to shed tears and that's it. No. Like, I accepted that she's not here, but the pain is still there. But I can still think about the cherished moments that we have, and that's the thing that keeps me going. But am I saddened by her death? Of course. Like, that was one of my favorite. Just imagine your favorite person is no longer here. You can't pick up the phone and say, hey, hello, let's go out. You can't do that anymore. So it was knowing the physical aspect, like, she's not here, like, I can't see her, I can't hold her hand, I can't give her a hug, I can't do none of those things. But I can talk to her at night, I can pray and say, hey, I hope that you cover me, I miss you, all those things. But healing, it's a process. And so I pray that whatever you may be going through, I don't know what you're going through, I don't know, but I hope that you make the decision to say, hey, I want to be healed. It's already in you. Like, you already have in you to heal, but are you going to take the necessary steps to do that? Like, are you going to really take the necessary steps, right? And the second part is, I see you, right? And so one of my friends, he sent me a message. It was like, I even posted it on my Instagram, and it was a clip of Jamal Bryant's sermon. Like, he's a well-known pastor, and he was like, you never know the pressure that people has on their life, the pressure that people encounter, right? They had this pressure on them. I don't think I ever had the pressure of being successful, right? I don't think I ever had that. And my parents never, like, pressured me to go to college. Like, they never, I already told them what I wanted to do in my life. I told my parents at a very early age. Like I remember being 8, sitting with my dad's, like, living room floor, like, brushing my Barbie doll's hair, like, hey, I want to be a lawyer. And, when parents hear that, like, she's only 8, like, she's just learning long division. Like, how the hell does she know about being a lawyer? Like, I already knew that. I was like, hey, brushing my Barbie doll's hair. And I'm an introvert. So growing up, being my mom's only daughter, and I had 2 brothers in the house. I have other siblings as well, but in my household, only daughter, 2 brothers. Like, I just stayed by myself. Like, I had my Barbie dolls. I always did good in school. So if it was a Barbie doll that I really want, I can get it, right? So I'm just brushing the Barbie doll hair and like, hey, Dad, I want to be a lawyer. And he's probably looking like, my little girl, does she even know, like, what it is? So I never had, like, the pressure. But as I got older, I put pressure on myself, like, because I just knew that, for those that don't know, like, Bell Hooks, like, she's, like, a well-known scholar. And what we're doing in my law school is that we're trying to implement some of the theories that she used in her classroom. And one of the things that she used in her classroom is, like, this concept of love, right? I tell my students, like, hey, you're amazing. Hey, I love that answer. Like, you're great. Like, you're awesome. Like, how I am, like, on, like, the videos, I am 10 times, like, on go and like so much energy in the classroom. Like, I tell my students, like, hey, I have coffee in the morning, I'm hyped, I'm ready to start my day, hey, you're amazing, you're great. And I do all those things, like, because I have this pressure on myself that, hey, these are the things that I want in my life. And I just knew at a very early age that education was my way out. Like, education was my way to be free. Like, I was able to see things growing up, and I realized, like, hey, like, I don't want that for myself. And I didn't really know, honestly, if it was good or bad, right? You don't, when you're a young child, sometimes you don't know what is good or bad. Somebody eventually will tell you, directly or indirectly. I remember, like, seeing, like, the Dare commercials about doing drugs. And I said, hey, like, I don't even want to do that. Like, I don't want to do that at all. Because I saw the Dare commercials, right? And so I had this pressure on myself, like, to do well, because I knew what I wanted for myself. Like, I knew exactly what I wanted for myself at an early age. Even if people didn't get my vision, I still, like, had this idea. And so what this clip from Jamal O'Brien is like people had this pressure to be successful, and maybe it's on their self, maybe it's on family. And then when some people see you become successful, they just have their hand out, right? Just have their hand out. But they don't know the steps that you had to take to be successful. They don't understand, like, what you had to go through to get there. They just see the fruits of your labor, but they don't see your labor, right? And so I'm here to tell you that if you're working hard and you're striving for a particular goal, whatever it is, and maybe you want somebody to, like, to clap you on. Maybe you want somebody to say, hey, I am here. Hey, if you need me, call on me. Maybe you want that, but maybe you don't have that. I'm here to tell you, like, hey, I see you. Continue to be great. Continue to keep moving forward to whatever it is that you want. I don't know what it is that you want, but whatever it is, like, I pray that you keep going, because a lot of times people will see, like, everything that you have, and they don't know, like, the pressure that you may have put on yourself to get there. And sometimes you're working, you're looking down, and you keep moving forward to the extent where you realize, like, everybody see, like, all the things that you're accomplishing, but you're so focused on getting to the next level that sometimes you don't wake up, you don't lift up, and you don't smell your own roses. So I challenge you to, one, smell your own roses, and two, I see you. Like, I see you doing your thing. And if nobody doesn't salute you, I'm here to tell you, like, hey, I salute you. Like, keep doing your thing, because all your hard work, it will pay off. I don't know when it'll pay off, but I know that it will pay off. So I see you. Keep doing your thing. Do things because it matters to you, not because it matters to other people. I told my friend yesterday, like, hey, you know, I don't care about being unpopular. I really don't. Like, if I am in a group full of other women and maybe they have, like, the newest purses, the new thing that is in, like, the trend, honestly, I really don't give a damn. Like, I hate Uggs. Like, I hate them. Like, I hate them with a passion. Like, if somebody buys me a pair of Uggs, you don't know me. Like, I have Tory Burch boots that I love. Way better than Uggs. And I think that my boots probably cost even more than Uggs. I hate Uggs, but that was, like, the trend. Like, I never forget when it came out. It was, like, the trend. Everybody had to have a pair of Uggs. Now, I have Ugg slippers. I wear those things, like, to go outside. Like, they are my outside slippers. They are ugly, but they are comfortable. And maybe, like, the Ugg boots are the same thing, but I hate those. Like, you're not going to ever see them on my feet. I don't care about being popular. I don't care about what's the trend. What I care about is being impactful. What I care about is making a difference. I told one of my friends, I said, you know, I do these videos. I don't care. Like, I can post these videos whether I'm doing, like, a Motivational Monday, whether I'm doing Tillman Tax Tips on my business page. There's times where people may never join my live. There's times that people may never like my video. May never like it, right? I have friends, I have family members that will never hire me for doing tax preparation, and they'll go to somebody else. I may have people, whether it's friends, family members, that know that I'm a tax attorney and will hire somebody else to do the job. And we have a great relationship. But those things don't bother me, right? At first I was like, damn, you know, I would love to help them. And, you know, I'm shocked, like, what made them go to this other person? Or, you know, what made them go to H&R Block and I'm right here? Like, I don't mind, because I love to help people, right? And it's deeper than just the price. Like, I I really love to help people. I always love to help people. Maybe that's, being around my great grandparents that taught me the importance of always being kind and always doing right by people. I've learned those things growing up. It wasn't just my mom that raised me, but it was a whole entire village. My grandma, my grandfather, my great grandfather, my great grandmothers, my aunts, my uncles. I learned all these things. But the thing I realized is that you may be my friend. You may be my family member. You may be somebody that know me. And you may never hire me for my services. You may be someone that follows my social media. Whether it's Instagram, maybe it's Facebook, maybe it's YouTube. Maybe I'm telling you about the big news that I have about, hey, I'm going to the next level, whatever it may be. I may post a video that resonate with you. Maybe you'll say, hey, I agree. You may never like it. You may never share it. You may never post it. You may never do none of those things. But I learned that I don't care, right? I don't care. Because my purpose is not to be popular. I just want to be a dope person. I strive for that. I strive to be a better person every single day. And the things that I do it to please God. I don't do it to please people. So I've learned that, hey, I see myself, right? I see the things that I do, and I don't ask for anything in return. That's just the person that I am. So I'm here to tell you that do the things because you do it, and just trust me that even if nobody's not clapping for you, even if someone's not sharing yourself, even if someone doesn't even believe in your dream, or even if someone's not supporting the business that you had that you've been working so hard for, know that there's somebody out there that don't even know you that's clapping for you. I had people that follow my social media, and I may never meet them in my life. I get calls from potential clients. They're like, such and such. I'll always ask, well, who referred you? Because I really want to send them a card. I want to send them an email or call them and say, hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Because when you support a small business, you're supporting my dream. One of my dreams that I have, and I have a lot of dreams, and I'm working towards it to make sure that they come into fruition. And it's people that I don't even know. It's yeah, you should hire Sakina. I don't know her, but people talk about her a lot. Her name comes up in different conversation when they talk about people with integrity, people that love what they do, people that have a lot of energy, a good person, but a good person that has a business that's trying to make a difference. And so I'm here to tell you that if you're working and nobody doesn't see you, I'm here to tell you that, hey, I do see you. You're going to live your life where people may never clap for you. People may never give you a pat on the back. People may never do these things that you want them to do. But I'm here to tell you that, hey, I see you. And just keep going. Because the goal is not to just be noticed by people, but to make a difference. And when you make a difference and you are impactful, the good things, they will follow. I don't know what those good things may be for you, but they will follow. But do it because, not to get an applause, but do it because you are trying to make a difference. So I want you to know that, hey, I do see you. The people that matter, they will matter. The people that don't matter, they don't matter, right? They don't matter. The term, well, I would say the quote that I live by for this year is that I want to be around good people. People that are good to themselves, and people are good to me. And I want to be around people that have good hearts, that have good intentions. So if you're that person, I see you. If you're that person that's built in a business and you just keep working and you don't have support, hey, I still see you. So I challenge you to keep going, to keep looking forward, to clap yourself on the back, even if no one doesn't do it. I'm here to tell you that I see you. I really do see you. And just know that your time is coming. One of my friends, it's a catchy, phrase, sometimes you could clap for others until it's your turn, right? I've been clapping a lot for so many people, and I still want the best for them. I'll clap for people, even if they got the thing that I prayed for first. Most of my friends, they passed the bar before I did, and I was still clapping them on. I have friends that got married before me. I'm not married yet. I was still clapping them on. I have friends that got engaged, had babies. I don't have that yet, but I'm still clapping them on. I had friends that created businesses before me, And I knew that I wanted a business. I just wasn't sure when I would create one. I was still clapping them on because I know that my time will come. I know that and I believe that. And so if you're doing that, just know that I see you, and just know that, like, yo, your time is coming. And so while I'm clapping, I just know that my time is coming. And so when I do get there, I can see why I waited. So right now, because my business and it's growing, I can see why God made me wait. I can see why I failed the bar a few times. Like, I understand, because it built character, it built perseverance. I'm more determined. And back to my, my Bible study, when I wrote words to describe who I am, there may be people that don't like me. Like, I told somebody, like, it's hard being a leader in an organization because you have to worry about outside noise and all these different things. But I said, if I wrote these words to describe who I am as a person, I give two shits what people have to say about me. So if I think that I'm amazing, I think that I'm beautiful, I know that I'm flawed, I already know that I'm a good person, like all these adjectives, it doesn't matter what people have to say. And so you're going to experience that. You're going to experience people that may not like you because you're great. Like, they not like you. Like, my skin is glowing. I don't have foundation on. Like, I enjoy today. I'm going to take one day at a time. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to embrace it. And I look for better days because I know better days are ahead. So if this message resonates with you, just know that, hey, I see you. So that's all that I have. I pray that you have a great day. I pray that you have an amazing day. And I pray that you just never forget how amazing you really are. Like, February is a month for love, but I pray that you embrace yourself with a little bit more love today. I pray that you embrace yourself with a little more love, not just for today, but every single day. I pray that you make the decision to heal. I pray that you make the decision to say, when I look in the mirror, I accept me. I accept everything that comes with me. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great, the not so much, I don't know. Like, I pray that you're able to look in the mirror and say, you know what, I accept me. Like, I accept it. Because there's some people out there that still struggle with who they are as a person. But if you have these lists, these words to describe who you are as a person, no one can tell you differently. It's Monday, so to all the dope men out there, I see you and I salute you. Like, keep doing your thing. Special shout out to one of my good friends, one of my legal brothers in the legal community, Dennis McLeod. You have been so supportive since 2010 when I walked on the Lansing campus of Thomas and Cooley Law School, when you offered to give me an outline to say, hey, I want you to be successful and I want you to do well. And still now you are still cheering me on. You still send me clients. You still check up on me to see if I'm okay. And my other friend, Ray, thank you so much for all this support. You sent me a message yesterday saying, hey, I don't think you realize like all the great things that you're doing, but I'm telling you that I do see you and your work will pay off. Thank you for that message. I really appreciate it and I needed it. No matter how good I feel about myself or all those things, it's nothing like somebody pouring into you. And so thank you, Ray. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for just being great friends. And to everybody else, thank you. If you supported me, thank you. I pray that you all have a great week. I pray that you all just have an amazing month and the months to follow. Take care.